to highlights of the 1993 Australian Grand Prix, brought to you by Mircoprose and GP2Joey. We head down under this weekend for the 16th and final round of what has been one of the most dramatic and exciting seasons ever, where superstars Ayrton, Senna and Davies are all set for a winner-takes-all Drivers' World Championship shootout around the bumpy streets of Adelaide. Senna has not raced since Septembers Italian Grand Prix, where his Williams-Renault car suffered an almost fatal 190-mile-an-hour crash, and the Brazilian sensationally returns to action this weekend, having missed the last two races in America and Japan, with the latter being won 2 weeks ago by good friend and rival Davies after a quite superb defensive drive, where the Briton managed to keep his Ferrari ahead of Pete, charging Alain Prost and Michael Schumacher in the closing laps. And so after 15 races, it all means that in the Drivers' Championship, Senna remains top, a position he has held since the start of the season, but Davies' 10 points gained from his win at Suzuka last time out now sees the Brazilian's lead cut to a mere 3 points with 1 race to go. In the Constructors' Championship, the top 4 positions are now finalised, with Williams ending the year as champions ahead of Ferrari, Ligier, Prost and Benetton, whilst the battle over 5th rages between defending champions McLaren and rookie team Sauber, who are 7 points adrift in 6th, and Adelaide gives one last chance for the likes of Jordan, Tyrrell, Lotus and Minardi to scramble for points and improve their final position. In the news leading up to the race, backmarkers Brabham confirmed recently crowned German F3 champ Jos Verstappen would be joining them from the start of 1994 on a 2-year deal, whilst rumours grew that Derek Warwick was in advanced stages of negotiating a deal for himself to join the squad alongside the Dutchman. Elsewhere, and keen to improve their chances of getting out of pre-qualifying more often, Pacific elected to replace the struggling Roland Ratzenberger, holding a shootout at Silverstone after the Japanese Grand Prix between the Austrian rookie British drivers David Coulthard and Kelvin Burt and the Portuguese driver Felipe Adams. Ultimately, it was Coulthard who impressed the most, and the Scotsman was then confirmed for the finale in Adelaide. In the days between Suzuka and this weekend, rumours still abounded Senna would not have recovered enough from his injuries at Monza to race in Australia, but ultimately the news broke late on Wednesday night before the weekend that the Brazilian would in fact be racing. News which delighted Davies, who admitted going for the title without his rival would just not be the same. With only this race left and some big-name teams at risk of needing to start next year in pre-qualifying, Friday morning's 30-minute session was perhaps more intense than ever, as the 10 drivers battled it out to see who would progress further into the race weekend and who would be heading home early. With the top 3 teams' fastest average lap times counting, the pressure was really on, but in the end it was the LaRousse of Eric Bernard that topped the session ahead of teammate Philippe Alliot and Cor Ursa in his final race for Brabham, as both teams moved into race qualifying, joined by the Pacifics of Mika Salo and new teammate Coulthard, who was impressive in 5th, while Saxpeed and BMS Dallara both headed home, their respective seasons done. Friday's first qualifying session was electric, and for the title protagonists it was an early marker for just who might have the edge come race day. And for Senna, the effects of his Monza accident seemed but a distant memory, as the Brazilian topped the timing screens early, setting a strong pace in the Williams-Renault. Elsewhere, Prost and Schumacher impressed once more, with the latter showing well over the bumpy track, his Benetton seemingly dancing from apex to apex. But it was the number 27 Ferrari once more at Davies who ended the session on top, the Briton's time of 1 minute 14.451 being a tenth faster than Prost and over 2 tenths quicker than Senna, who took third ahead of Schumacher, Gerhard Berger and Martin Brundle in the second Ferrari and Benetton respectively. Afterwards, Davies declared himself happy enough with provisional pole, but remained focused on extracting more speed on Saturday and for Sunday's all-important race, whilst a content Prost believed there was untapped speed in his Ligier car and he could still challenge for the pole on Saturday. For the tired returnee Senna, he declared he was easing himself back in and that Sunday he would be ready for the title fight with Davies. News then broke that McLaren had turned down an offer from F1 ringmaster Bernie Ecclestone to take Senna's stand in the last 2 races. American IndyCar star Alan Saint Jr., believing no change was required in the deals to run Mika Hakkinen and Martin Brundle in 1994, whilst newcomers for next year's Simtek confirmed they had signed Ratzenberger as their first driver, the Austrian having signed a 1-year deal with the team. Saturday's final qualifying session of the year was cooler, and Senna was immediately on the charge in the Williams, topping the timing screens early as he fought to wrestle pole position away from his rival Davies, with the Briton spinning off himself halfway through the session in pursuit of more speed and bringing out the yellow flags. For Prost, there was indeed more speed extracted as the French four-time champ got within a hundredth of Davies' best from yesterday, and the battle for the pole looked like a mouth-watering prospect. All that was put to bed near the very end of the session, however, after a quite brilliant final effort from Davies saw him grab the pole by over 2/10 ahead of Prost, who beat Senna into third, with Schumacher fourth and Berger fifth, both unable to better their times from Friday, whilst at the back it was the LaRussa Valio and the unfortunate rookie Coulthard in the Pacific, who both failed to qualify. Afterwards, Davies admitted he was nervous for the race despite his incredible pole, yet declared his focus was on only beating Senna in the race and trying to claim a second World Championship come 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Prost was hopeful the title protagonist's battle on race day might open a window of opportunity to take the win, while Senna remained confident he would be fit enough for the gruelling 81 laps on Sunday and give his all for the championship showdown with Davies. So it's Davies and Prost on the front row with Senna and Schumacher on row 2. Row 3 is Berger and Brundle. Row 4 is Alesi and Hill. Row 5 is Häkkinen and Andretti. Row 6 is JJ Leto and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Row 7 is Carl Vendinger and Derek Warwick. Row 8 is Eddie Irvine and Aguri Suzuki. Row 9 is Blundell and Nakajima. Row 10 is Johnny Herbert and Alessandro Zanardi. Row 11 is Corausa and Rubens Barrichello. Row 12 is Pierluigi Martini and Eric Bernard, and at the back it's Christian Fittipaldi and Mika Salo. So this is it. After 15 races, there is but one to go. The championship will be decided, and for both leader Senna and rival Davies, the requirements are simple. If either wins, they are champion. If they don't, well, it all gets a little more complicated with plenty of eventualities on offer. So take a breath, try to relax, and let's head trackside for this epic finale. This is it, the race we've all been waiting for, but will it be Senna or Davies to win the title? As the red lights come on, the engine revs rise, and it's go, go, go! It's a good start from Senna, but Davies is away well from the pole position, and so is Alain Prost in second place as they thunder down to the first corner. It's Davies ahead of Prost, with Senna in third, it's Berger in fourth, and Alesi is up into fifth. From seventh on the grid, Jean Alesi is up into fifth, ahead of the two Benettons of Schumacher and Brundle, with Hill in eighth, and then the two Sauers of Leto and Vendinger. What on earth has happened to the two McLarens of Häkkinen and Andretti?
Yes, I think they must have got off to a quite appalling start there, the two McLarens. But back up front, Davies has got a half a second lead over Alain Prost, and this is going to be critical now as he just unnecessarily defends there into the tight left-hander, I fear, and that's going to give Alain Prost the opportunity possibly to pounce on the back straightaway as they go up towards the hill there, and there's the back marker of Mika Salo. Great to see him in the race there, and Prost is going to try and go through on the inside, and I fear that he may have gone for the move a little bit too early there, and he's now going to give his rivals a chance to pounce.
And Senna's going to try and see if he can get ahead of the Ligier, but Berger's on the inside, and that's Alesi on the inside as well. Berger goes through, Alesi, Senna hits Prost, Prost almost turns into Alesi. Senna's down to fifth, from third on the grid, he's down to fifth, but he's still ahead of the two Benettons, but back up front. It's a scintillating first lap from Joey Davies, and he's got a great cushion between him and title rival Senna of Gerhard Berger in the other Ferrari. He's ahead with Alesi in third, Prost is fourth. Senna's down to fifth as Davies comes across the line for the first time, and it's a lead of 1.4 seconds now as he's through into the first chicane. Let's have a look at the replay.
Yes, there's good reaction times there from Joey Davies and from Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna all alike, and as all three of them bogged down a little bit in first gear, that just enabled Davies to keep the lead into the first corner. So he looks to defend on the inside line there. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there. We seem to have cut away early, and this is towards one of the back markers, and this looks like Katayama in the Tyrrell. So I've no doubt there's going to be a concertina effect here. He's going to crash into somebody, and there it is. He crashes into the back of what looks like Eddie Irvine's Jordan there. An unnecessary accident there, but one that does happen quite often. This is Senna! Senna with Berger. This is the replay. Let's see what happened as Lacey pulls through, and Schumacher hits Senna, and Senna hits Prost in turn. Fantastic stuff. So Senna got tapped by Schumacher. As we see Davies now ahead, and Davies almost loses it. He's over the curbs. Just about manages to keep control of that Ferrari. Fantastic. Scintillating stuff. What drama in Adelaide. Davies has got the lead of 1.2 seconds. With Andretti down in 12th place, and Damon Hill must have gone off, because that's Damon Hill just ahead of the American, with Hightower, Fenton and Derek Warwick in close attendance as we ride on board with Berger, and spin! Berger's off at the final corner. Gerhard Berger loses the back end of the Ferrari, and he's beached it in the gravel, but can he get out? And Fenton is out of the race. Yes, that's quite poor from the Tyrrell team there. I think they were quite hopeful, and that looks like Alesi defending the position ahead of Alain Prost, with Senna still trying to find a way through as the two Benettons of Schumacher and Martin Brundle squabble over 5th position there. Not sure what happened to Gerhard Berger, but I've no doubt he's going to have to come into the pit, because he will have no doubt damaged the underside of the car, or even worse, the front wing. And that is, yes, we're hearing that Gerhard Berger is now into the pits. He's going to have to get a new front wing. So Gerhard Berger into the pits, and he's dropped right the way down. And Senna inexplicably spins. Senna spins, and he's dropping down the order. He's down into 6th. That's going to become 7th as Nato goes through, Vendiger goes through, Hakkinen goes through, his teammate Damon Hill goes through, and the McLaren of Andretti goes through, and Senna, my goodness me, on a crucial race for him. He's dropped from 4th position. He's going to find himself right the way down the back of the field as the two Lotuses go through. He's going to be down at the back of the field, but perhaps just ahead of Gerhard Berger. Sensation in Adelaide. It's Senna. Has he thrown away the World Championship on lap 8? He may very well have done, but this is an 81-lap race, and anything can happen, as we've seen happen so many times here, and Nakajima spinning again. Yes, that's quite unsurprising there. Nakajima completely devoid of talent, and I'm very grateful that he's probably not going to be on the grid next year. I think he's overstayed his welcome in Formula 1, as Martin Brundle still searching for that way past his young German whippersnapper teammate Michael Schumacher, who is going to be joined by Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who, as we know, won't be racing anymore in this Grand Prix. As Senna's up to 18th now, so Ayrton Senna is most certainly going to be going absolutely flat out as much as he possibly can without trying to lose grip on the tyres, as Alesi almost loses it. And is that going to give Schumacher the chance to bounce? I think it is, because Schumacher's going to look for the inside. Alesi's going to try and block him around the outside, so he's got the inside line for the left-hander, but he can't do it. It's Schumacher ahead, so Schumacher is up into 3rd place. Fantastic opportunism from the young German. Alesi's down to 4th, it's Brundle 5th, and Herbert is out. There's his stricken Lotus. Yes, and that could prove to be quite a pivotal point there for the Lotus team, as we see Suzuki go off there, because Lotus are at serious risk now of falling into pre-qualifying for the start of next season, when of course they will become Andretti Lotus, and that will most certainly not be the kind of start that Mario Andretti and Michael Andretti would have been expecting after their acquisition of the team a few months ago. But back up front, it's Davies 1.8 seconds ahead of Alain Prost, with Michael Schumacher in 3rd position there, 8.1 seconds further back, as we still continue looking at Ayrton Senna, and that's Jean Alesi having spun. Alesi spins out of 10th position. Yes, but I think he was actually higher up than that. I think he was in roughly 5th position. Well, he's still spun, and he's dropping down the order as Warwick retires from the Grand Prix. So Derek Warwick is out of the race as well, and Alesi's back under power, and he's going again as we ride on board with Mika Salo in the Pacific. Yes, a fantastic sight to see the Pacific team finally in a Grand Prix, and it's very much a shame that David Coulthard, the replacement for Roland Ratzenberger, who was ousted by the team after the Japanese Grand Prix, goes through. And Senna's looking to go through on Damon Hill there, and he couldn't quite do it. And I think that he made the same mistake as Alain Prost as Schumacher comes into the pit. So the first of the 2 tyre stops, and Schumacher is the first of the big names to come into the pit.
But Senna, I think he bounced a little bit too early there on Damon Hill, as we see Häkkinen going through, and Vendinger is into the pits, and Andretti is into the pits, and the battle between Sauber and McLaren is reaching boiling point over 5th place in the Constructors' Championship. But who's going to prevail? My money, the smart money, is on McLaren as Davies is into the pits.
Yes, the race leader Davies into the pits, and this is going to give Alain Prost the chance now to see what he can do, as we see Rubens Barrichello running wide there, and he just about manages to keep control of his Jordan, and let's hope that he's not damaged the left front suspension on that car. As we see Ayrton Senna going round, and Alain Prost is now into the pits. So Prost is into the pits, which is going to elevate Martin Brundle, who somehow has managed to get his way ahead of Michael Schumacher, probably through the pit stops, but that means that Prost will be coming in, and Brundle is going to come in as well. So it's all getting quite manic out here on the streets of Adelaide as Davies rounds the final corner on lap 32.
And Davies is going to go across the line. Is he going to still be in the lead? There's Schumacher in the background, and Davies goes through, and Prost emerges only just behind him, unseen by us on the cameras. But we looked out of the commentary box window, and there's Prost with Schumacher right behind him, and Berger's making a lunge on Blundell, and that's Prost spinning. Prost, he's lost it over the curbs. Davies lost it on the first lap, on the third lap, and Prost has actually lost it. Davies managed to keep control of the Ferrari, but Prost has spun.
Yes, and look at this. That means that JJ Leto, unknown by everybody, has crept up into 3rd position with Martin Brundle breathing down his neck. But I'm pretty sure that the power of that Ilmor engine in the back of that Sauber will be enough to see him stay ahead of Brundle into the Adelaide hairpin. And there it is. So Sauber stays ahead of the Benetton there, with Michael Schumacher now 4.5 seconds behind the leading Ferrari of Joey Davies, who is in commanding position.
But Häkkinen almost loses the McLaren, but Davies' lead now, it's down to 1.5 seconds. Schumacher is gaining on the Ferrari. Is he going to be able to challenge him for the race lead? With Martin Brundle in 3rd, it's JJ Leto in 4th, Vendinger's 5th, it's Häkkinen 6th, and Andretti in 7th, and Senna's already up into 8th position as we ride on board with Davies. Approaching the final corner, he's managed to extend the lead back out to Schumacher to almost 4 seconds, but Senna is in 8th position. He's 30 seconds and he's gaining on Andretti and Häkkinen in the 2 McLarens, and that's Prost again. Prost has spun.
My goodness me, I'm not sure what's happened to Prost there, and I think that was part of his front wing that came off there as he got himself buried in the gravel trap. But Alain Prost, an uncharacteristic second mistake, and that's Wendlinger pulling off in the Sauber.
Wendlinger's out of the Grand Prix. Tragedy for the Austrian. He is out. The reliability has been absolutely shocking for them all season long, and it wasn't set to be any better in Adelaide because the Austrian is out of the Grand Prix. But back up front, this is Schumacher. The young German is charging after race leader Davies, and he's got it down to less than 1 second. It's 0.8 of a second.
Yes, but Martin Brundle is gaining on the 2 of them now. The gap is 8.2, it's 7.9 seconds. So Martin Brundle is the fastest out there of all of them, as Schumacher is only 1/10 of a second behind Davies, and there's Ayrton Senna in the background. Senna up into 5th place now, so unseen by us, he's passed both the McLarens of Andretti and Mika Häkkinen. And across the line they come, and the gap is back out to 0.8 of a second. And Davies loses it over the curbing on the entrance to the first corner, and Schumacher takes evasive action, and Schumacher takes the lead. Fantastic stuff. It's Schumacher ahead of Davies, but Schumacher running wide over the curbs with Brundle 7.2 seconds. What drama and excitement as Davies almost loses it. This is sensational stuff. Quite extraordinary. This really is exciting. It's the final race of the year with Brundle gaining time, and Schumacher's almost lost it again.
Goodness me, Schumacher. Those two are going absolutely hammer and tongs at it, and that's enabling Brundle to close up as Davies weaves about all over the back of the Benetton. Is he going to go defensive? He goes to the left-hand side. Fantastic stuff. I don't think Schumacher saw about that. And Davies goes through, but Brundle is gaining it. Schumacher's going to try and go through, but he can't do it.
Fantastic defensive driving. What aggression, fair racing from Joey Davies. And that's Shauna Lacey gone off again in the Ligier. Ligier Prost are not having a very good race here. I think this is probably one for them to forget, and I've no doubt that this will certainly be a season where they will feel that they have missed opportunities plenty. As we see the team leader Alain Prost going through there, and Schumacher, my goodness me, Michael Schumacher just got tapped by Martin Brundle. I'm pretty sure that wasn't intentional there from Brundle, but nevertheless, it's Martin Brundle up into second place behind Joey Davies. Now he's 1 second behind. As JJ Leto comes in, he's the first of the big names to come in and stop for the second time, with Ayrton Senna into the pits from 5th position. But is this going to be able to help Ayrton Senna, because Davies is going to stay out, and Andretti comes in, but it's Davies, Brundle and Schumacher who seem to be competing for the lead, with all 3 of them on worn tyres now, but Senna is going to be at least 30 seconds adrift. And sensational, look at this! Davies is coming under attack. He tries to block the inside. It's Brundle on the attack. Davies has got it covered, and Brundle goes through. Brundle goes through, but what? He's through, so we weren't sure what was going to happen. And Brundle takes the lead as Davies lights up the rear tyres. It's Brundle ahead of Davies with Schumacher in 3rd. Fantastic performance from the 2 Benettons. Where has this been all season? This is fantastic. Hakkinen is up into 4th place. It's JJ Leto in 5th. Senna is 42 seconds behind this trio at the front, with Hill in 7th. It's Berger in 8th, and Hakkinen is into the pits for the second time with Suzuki in also. As we see Christian Fittipaldi, and then Schumacher. Yes, that Joey Davies there seemed to make a mistake there. Just uncaught by the camera there. Davies made the mistake, and that's enabled Schumacher to get through, and that means that it's Brundle and Schumacher leading a sensational Benetton 1-2 here in Adelaide. Absolutely incredible, with JJ Leto in 4th, with Senna a few seconds further back in 5th position. But what drama! Don't forget that it only needs Davies to finish ahead of Ayrton Senna as Brundle finally comes into the pits. So Brundle is going to come in, and Davies comes in. Schumacher electing to stay out, but the race leader and the gentleman in 3rd position, Joey Davies, he comes into the pits as well, and this is going to be crucial. And let's see what happens. He's onto the marks. The brakes are on. A fantastic wipe of the visor from the chief mechanic. They've got the 4 wheels off. They got the new ones on. It's a slow stop. It's 9 seconds, and Brundle is already up the road. So Brundle is up the road. And Senna, where's Senna and Davies? There's Ayrton Senna. He's battling the 5th position, and he can't get through. Yes, I think that was Sean Lacey there blocking Ayrton Senna, who is hunting down JJ Leto, who's a few seconds further up the field. As Schumacher comes in, and that's Barrichello. So Rubens Barrichello makes an uncharacteristic mistake in the Jordan, but he manages to regain it, and he's back on track as Senna bounces on JJ Leto. Sensational! Senna goes through from 24th after his spin. It's Senna up into 4th position as Mark Blundell negotiates the first corner, and he makes a similar mistake to Rubens Barrichello earlier. But Senna is up into 4th. It's Brundle in the lead. It's Davies in 2nd, and Davies has only got to stay behind Martin Brundle. As long as he's ahead of Ayrton Senna, he will be world champion. As Brundle loses colossal amounts of time trying to get past one of the LaRousses there. Is Davies going to go and try and attack into the final hairpin? He has a look, but Brundle's too strong. They round the final corner, and it's Brundle ahead of Davies. That's the 65th lap complete. It's Brundle ahead as he flies into the first corner with Davies in 2nd, and Brundle loses it, and Davies takes evasive actions and it spins, and Bernard creams into the back of the Ferrari, and he loses his rear wing. My goodness me, in the blink of an eye, the outcome of the World Championship could very well change, because Davies is completely without his rear wing. Brundle has dropped down to 3rd position. Schumacher is in the lead, and Davies is going to have to come into the pits to make a tyre stop and to see if Ferrari can make any alterations and get him a new rear wing as JJ Leto comes into the pits. This is quite unbelievable. This means that Ayrton Senna potentially is going to jump into 2nd position, and crucially for the Brazilian, he is going to be ahead of his rival Davies on the racetrack, and that will mean he is the world champion. with only a few more laps to go. Davies going very defensive against Martin Brundle, and I can't help but feel that Davies is very much aggrieved at what happened there, but I don't think he has any need to be, because it was just pure circumstances and bad luck. And that's Senna in the background. So Ayrton Senna is closing the gap now. And Schumacher is 9 seconds to the good. I don't think that Senna's going to be able to catch the German, but we're watching a damaged Ferrari of Joey Davies, and he is most certainly going to have to come into the pits. Davies is going to have to come in as we ride on board with Senna, and there he goes. So Davies peels off into the pits. Is this a pivotal moment in the outcome of the 1993 World Championship? Senna goes across the line, but crucially, he's in third place, and he's ahead of Davies, who is going to drop further down the order. Senna, he's already leading the World Championship into this race. Davies is into the pit, and he has to beat the Brazilian. Yes, but he's not going to, unless Senna happens to have some sort of misfortune or a technical failure in the Williams-Renault. Ayrton Senna very much looks as though he's going to be cementing the 1993 World Championship as Davies drops down the order now, and he emerges from the pit lane in 6th position with all the work in the world to do to try and see if he can recoup some of the lost ground. But I fear it's going to be too much, even for the undisputed talent of Joey Davies. This is sensational. Schumacher's got a 12.4 second lead over Martin Brundle. And let's have a look at the replay. Yes, I don't think you'll see here there's anything doing from Davies. He was just trying to take evasive action as Martin Brundle makes a small mistake. He just carried too much speed into the first part of the chicane, lost the back end. Davies tried to take evasive action and just got slammed from the rear. I think that was Eric Bernard in the Larousse, who then, that's his Larousse there, who pulls over, subsequently damaged. And Davies, unbelievably bad luck there. And that's Martin Brundle. So Brundle is out. Senna is up into second place. He's 13.2 seconds. My goodness. Talk about bad luck for Davies. With Martin Brundle out of the race, Davies, if he'd only stayed behind him and waited. But of course he wasn't to know that. No, of course he wasn't, as Martin Brundle pulls out. That's quite unfortunate there for Davies as he tries to get through on the inside of Häkkinen. Fantastic racing there. What opportunism from Davies there, and he's still on the back of one of those Minardis there. But what a fantastic pass there from Davies now. He's up into 4th position. He's going to go underneath the Minardi there, and he goes through, and now he's going to chase after Michael Andretti in 3rd position. Come on, Joey. This is what we want to see, Davies. He's trying to desperately climb the gap, but he's going to, I think it's still, even for him, it's going to be too far back. It's Andretti in 3rd place, but crucially for Davies, it's Ayrton Senna in 2nd, with Schumacher leading. Can Davies close the gap up on Michael Andretti now? Is he going to do a last-second lunge into the final corner? He does! So Davies, he locks up all 4 wheels. He gets through, but Davies crucially is up into 3rd place. And now there's only Ayrton Senna in front of him. Fantastic stuff. And Schumacher! My goodness me, Schumacher is out! Yes, Michael Schumacher out of the race. And there's Alain Prost almost losing. And he does, and he loses it again. My goodness me, what is happening to Alain Prost today? He really has seemed to have left his talent at the hotel foyer this morning on his way to the circuit, because he has now spun yet again and he's beached in the middle of the road. Is he going to be able to get going again? He does. And that's Gerhard Berger spinning in the Ferrari. Sensational stuff! Gerhard Berger spins the 2nd Ferrari, but it all means that Ayrton Senna, with only 8 laps to go, he goes through the first chicane. He is the race leader. He's 17.6 seconds ahead of Davies, who is gaining on over 2 seconds a lap as Davies collides with Nakajima into the final corner. Davies, the gap was 17.6. It's 17.4 seconds. And Cor Ursa in the Brabham. His final Grand Prix goes up in smoke with flames billowing out of the back of that Brabham, and he's out of it. Yes, but look at the gap now. The gap, it's 15.7 seconds, and it's still not going to be enough, I fear, for Davies. He's pushing the Ferrari, and he's just smashed the lap record. Smashed it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. As we watch Damon Hill, Alain Prost, and Mika Häkkinen battling over 5th position, with JJ Leto seemingly in a battle with Michael Andretti. I wonder, Mr. TV Director, if we're going to see that as we ride on board with Davies again. And Davies, he's got the gap down to 12.3 seconds. With Andretti and Leto separated by 0.2 of a second. Are we going to get to see the Mr. TV Director as we see Ayrton Senna negotiating the final sector of the lap? Andretti and Leto, they're separated by 0.6 of a second.
and the gap between Hill and Prost is less than 1 second with Häkkinen in the middle, and there they are. It's Damon Hill and Alain Prost and Mika Häkkinen, but Davies can't get the gap down anymore. It's 10.3 seconds as Prost looks to try again, and he can't do it. That's going to give Häkkinen the opportunity to pounce.
Yes, but is Davies going to be able to try and close the gap up now? There's only 1 lap to go, and Ayrton Senna is on the final lap in the Williams-Renault. I very much doubt now, with 10 seconds to go, Davies is pushing the Ferrari for all he possibly can and losing almost the back end of it. He's got tyre smoke out of the corners there. He's desperately trying to close the gap to Senna, but he's not going to be able to do it, I fear.
And Senna's only got the left, the right again in the final corner to negotiate. Ayrton Senna is approaching the final corner of the final race of the 1993 World Championship season. He's out of the final corner. Ayrton Senna is a 3-time world champion as he wins the Australian Grand Prix in terrific style. Fantastic stuff. Davies is across the line, but he's unable to stop Senna claiming that 3rd world championship. And fantastic result to see JJ Leto in 3rd.
Yes, I think a special shout-out must go to this young Finnish driver and even the Sauber team, because their reliability this year has been very much up and down. But the speed in that car and in the young Finn has been unquestionable. And everybody applauding, standing on their feet in the crowds, applauding JJ Leto taking a very fine 3rd place, with Michael Andretti in his last race from McLaren taking 4th.
And crucially, he's beaten Mika Häkkinen, who will be staying on at the team, with Salo a fine 15th in the Pacific. But where's the battle with Hill, Prost and Häkkinen? There they are. It's Hill, he's going to take 5th, and Alain Prost somehow, miraculously, is going to take 6th place. But all eyes are on the 1993 World Champion Ayrton Senna.
And what a fantastic sight that is to see there. Senna and Davies side by side. They're very good friends, and I've no doubt that even though Davies has lost the World Championship, they will be having quite a few beers tonight. What a sight that is.
It's a fantastic sight. Davies and Senna side by side. Davies congratulates Senna, who is the 1993 Formula One World Champion. So that's it. Ayrton Senna is the 1993 World Champion after what has been one of the most dramatic and exciting season finales we have ever seen. It seemed destined to go to Davies after a brilliant drive in the early stages, but fate had one last hand in store for the Briton. His spin to avoid Brundle's mistake, ultimately gifting Senna the race win, despite the mesmeric charge from the number 27 Ferrari in the last few laps. It was just not meant to be. Taking his career first podium, JJ Leto drove a quite superb mistake-free race in the Sauber in 3rd, whilst Andretti leaves McLaren on a high after taking a decent 4th ahead of Hill and Prost in 5th and 6th respectively, whilst a nod must be given to Mark Blundell taking a fine 11th in the Brabham in what could be his final race in F1. On the podium, an exhausted Senna was understandably joyous as he stood on the top step, spraying the champagne as he celebrated his championship, whilst rival Davies admitted he was gutted to lose the title, but quick to praise his good friend and rival. For Leto and the entire Sauber team, though, there were tears of joy as the Finn and Swiss team bathed in the glory of their first podium finish together after this fantastic Grand Prix. So in the Drivers' Championship standings, it's Senna who takes the title with Davies 7 points adrift in 2nd ahead of Hill, Prost and Schumacher in 5th, with Berger claiming 6th ahead of Brundle and Alesi in 8th in a year that saw 19 drivers score points, with standout performances from Andretti, who beat McLaren teammate Häkkinen, and Leto, who in turn beat his teammate Wendlinger at Sauber. In the final Constructors' Championship standings, Williams are champions by 50 points to Ferrari, who take 2nd ahead of Ligier, Prost and Benetton. Whilst last year's champions McLaren bring their nightmare season with Chevrolet engines to a close in a poor 5th place ahead of Sauber, Jordan and Tyrrell. As of tomorrow, Lotus will become Andretti Lotus, yet for new owners father and son Mario and Michael Andretti, the team's single point scored in 1993 will not stop them having to start next year in pre-qualifying. Whilst Minardi managed to also end the year on a high with a point, but the Italians have yet more importantly avoided the same fate as Lotus, whilst Brabham are set to start next year without the same pressure, having gained promotion out of the Friday morning session at least for the first 4 races of next year. So after 8 months, 16 races across 5 different continents, the 1993 season comes to an end with a fittingly epic final race that delivered just what the doctor ordered and saw a third world title for Ayrton Senna and his first since 1990. With new teams and drivers set to make their debut in 1994, the opening race in Brazil promises to be a celebration for the hometown hero, but for his rivals Davies, Prost and Schumacher alike, the upcoming winter will be a chance to reflect on this year and figure out how, in 1994, they can beat Ayrton Senna, the 1993 Formula One World Champion.